It's going pretty well using this flip phone. I feel a bit weird talking about this. It's the year 2025, people have computers everywhere, and I can't even get group messages or photos. But maybe I'm not totally weird, because if I had said I had this maybe 5 or 10 years ago, people might have just looked at me weird. But now they're like, oh, I was thinking about that too. At least a lot of people are. We're at this time where we are now reacting to the fact that technology is pervasive, surveillance is everywhere, and our phones have just become extra limbs. People are getting sick and tired of being so connected and inundated with information, and a lot of us, I guess, are trying to decide how we'll react to all of that. For me, I just got so addicted to my smartphone that I had to make a change or try something new, and I ended up with this, which is pretty cute. It's pink. Why was I looking at my smartphone so often? I think it wasn't a conscious decision. The reason I say that is because I disconnected the Instagram icon on my iPhone from actually loading the Instagram app. And I found myself clicking on the Instagram app about 10 times a day without consciously deciding to. So I think I'm actually physically wired to click on Instagram. I had been trying to rewire my brain the whole time and saying, oh, just don't click on it, don't open it. But my body had been wired, and watching my body do something that I had not consciously decided to do, in this case open Instagram, was really eerie. So then when it happened 10 times in one day, I was thinking, whoa, I really can't fight the genius level of development and UI design that has been placed into my device over the last, let's say, 10 years, that they've gotten things really addicting. I have to actually use a different device. It's been really fun. The first day, immediately, my brain seemed more clear. The reason I say that is because my brain thinks long thoughts sometimes, especially when I don't feel well and my brain needs to come back to reality. I get really negative sometimes, so for getting out of negative thoughts, my brain needs to think for a lot longer than I thought I would need. Maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, even 60 seconds, and sometimes it needs just a little bit of a breather to then come back to reality. This is if I feel ugly or stupid or like a failure or something just really negative and not constructive. And then my brain just heals itself a little bit through a longer thought process. And it needs that breathing room. Where I'm going with this is when I had a smartphone, my brain would just switch to whatever the smartphone was showing me. And then it wouldn't go on that long thought process that it needed to recover from my negative thoughts. I hope that wasn't too convoluted. I took some photos for you this weekend on this. They're quite fascinating, obviously. My husband takes me on a date once a week to a surprise location, and this was maybe in Astoria, and it was a museum mostly focused on, I guess, the history of TV and film, and a lot of the exhibits had to do with Sesame Street-like characters. I found this character named Wantkins, really cute, and there were these panels where people were planning scenes for a commercial or some show he was in. Look how cute. He's dressed up like a sheriff. Wow, that's blurry. I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. I guess that's his disgruntled face. I think this might be his surprised face or animated face. Maybe in the middle of talking. This is his... another surprised face he's making. This is Watkins talking to someone. And then this is not Watkins. This is Rolf. This is, I think Jim Henson with Rolf in New York City. And I know it's really blurry, I'm sorry. I think he's like in a little room in New York City in Manhattan. Rooms have not gotten any bigger since then, so we have that in common. This is a drawing of Big Bird. If you look to the edge of the drawing, this is a print of a drawing to be specific, but if you look to the edge of the drawing, you can see there's like a man who's kind of like controlling the puppet, and to control Big Bird, I guess you just have one arm raised. I think it's really funny. Oh, this is great. It has so much personality. I also took some other older photos for you. This is a photo of my Hello Kitty. It's a pineapple. And this is a photo of Toad at the Nintendo store. This is my husband sleeping. And the funny thing about this photo is, first of all, we were at a wedding and he was just sleeping. But also, if you look extremely closely at his hand is holding a fidget spinner. Just, you know, while he's sleeping. You're gonna have to trust me on that one. Let's go. That is my very unconventional review of using a smartphone, or sorry. See, even my mouth is addicted to smartphones. I guess usually when people tell you how their life has been about things and how they feel about things, they tell you if they think you should get it or not, whatever the thing they're reviewing is. So I guess I should say that. If you're thinking about getting a flip phone, I think you should, because you can always switch back. We're at the last legs of that being easy though, because a lot of smartphones don't take physical SIM cards anymore. And the whole reason why it's easy to switch back is if you have a physical SIM card, you can just put it in whatever phone you want on a whim. So I would definitely try it now before it gets more difficult to do later. And I would also give it a few days. The first day would be so frustrating because it's a different lifestyle. But after the first day, I think you'd know pretty quickly if it's just too annoying or if it's worth it. I have something really dark to tell you. Sorry to end this on a dark note. Okay, so I worked in cybersecurity a long time before I quit this year, and met a lot of people who worked for the government, and this is my opinion, given that information. My opinion is I just don't see the government wanting us all to have flip phones where we can't be tracked. I can even be tracked on this probably in some ways, just based off of cell phone towers. But I mean, the fact that smartphones can listen to us. I really think that there's just too much useful data for governments to take. And my personal opinion is that that will only increase, and people will only be marketed more and more items for their houses that can watch them. And we are way beyond 1984 at this point, in my opinion. I'm just saying my opinion everywhere because I don't want to get in trouble with a government. I think that would be not really fun. And I think that the amount of information that the tech companies, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, everyone, that they are able, Apple, the amount of information that they have about us, that the government can just access as long as they have a need, is probably tremendous. I have never seen that data because I have not worked for those agencies, but there have been so many people around me in my former career that just blatantly told me, you know, I was doing an investigation and I needed data. I went to Google or Facebook and they got it for me. I'm sure that the process was much more complicated than that, and there are legal hoops to go through and approvals and all of that. I'm sure people don't just randomly get data. That would be illegal. But the fact that they can get data if they have a reason and they have lawyers to back them up, I think that that is terrifying, because I don't really want them to know what I'm saying to my husband or saying to my best friends. And even back in 2016, I was talking to someone about some country. I don't remember what country it was, but it was some word or country name that I never use, ever. And then a few minutes later, I got a targeted Amazon ad, which I never get, about maybe like a travel guide to that place. And I was like, I never get Amazon ads. How did I get one that happened to be about the same country that I just said out loud? I think a lot of stuff is still going on that people haven't fully surfaced. I think people are much more aware of surveillance now, but I just have to say, based on my personal experiences, people have told me too many times that they were the people who got that data. People are using the data in some way. I hope for good. I hope to protect our country. Of course, I would always want my own country to be safe, but I think a little part of me is always biased. When I switch to this phone, I hope that there's less data being collected about me. At the same time as me having a better life and better experience, the idea of being surveilled is always in the back of my mind now. And I still can't think of anything I'm doing that the government would find bad, but it's still just like the idea of it, I guess. And maybe that's just a values thing, because I can also see a world where that data is really protecting us, and I'm sure that it has. I'm sure that it has helped protect us. But everyone who has worked in that space that I've met is massively creeped out by surveillance. So if they've helped do investigations where they surveil people, but then they themselves are creeped out by it and just only want to talk to me on Signal, I feel like that says something weird about the state of the world that we're in. Part of me also thinks deep down that maybe because I got a phone from a different country, that maybe it'll be hard for my own country to use it to spy on me. And the fact that I even have that like feeling inside, the fact that I even have to have that thought, I think that's weird. I think that's so weird. I don't have any strong opinions about how it should be though, because if I were defending a country, I would also want all the data I possibly could. So, I don't know. I'm not really making a statement about what I want to happen, because maybe what we have now is the best that we can do to protect our country. I still think it's weird though. Yeah, the other thing is, I guess sometimes we have too much trust too. Like, when I was in grad school, when we took a test, no matter what the test was, we were not allowed to be proctored, which means that all of our teachers, our professors, and our course assistants were required to stand outside of the room where we were taking our tests so that we were operating in complete trust. I never actually saw anyone cheating. I never cheated, but it was funny. Like, I never really experienced that before. At least, I can't think of another example where they were just like, we will trust you completely, and we will expect you to have the best character by not checking if you're cheating at all. And I just think that that construct would not work in a lot of situations, because human nature is dark and harmful a lot of the time, and selfish. So it's funny though, it was a little bubble where maybe the idea of total trust worked, at least in a way that was good enough for them. It's interesting to debate, where do we draw the line? How much trust can we really afford our citizens, and how much can we not? For people who really are serious about protecting us from every danger, that would actually require much less trust and much more surveillance. I feel like I just said like the craziest stuff, but maybe a lot of people think the same way, I don't know. Do we have anything else to talk about? This is kind of off topic. I have these cubbies in my desk. And I don't know what to put in these. There are so many. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubbies of different shapes. 3 of which are drawers. And I don't know what to put in my desk. I asked ChatGPT, but it didn't give me very good ideas. It just said like post-it notes or something like that, but I don't really use post-it notes, so let me know what I should put in my desk. And if you're thinking about getting a flip phone, you should. You really should. For all sorts of reasons, but more than that, just to try it. Yeah, see if you like it. And then switch back if you don't. Okay, talk to you soon.
There's something